Hey folks, it is time for TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 38. This is TWiP. Hey, welcome back to another TWiP Pro Photo Critique. We've got a lot of images to go through this week. I'm here with my partner in crime and fellow nitpicker, Mr. Troy Miller, to go through this week's submissions. Troy, the TWiP Pro community is growing, man. It is.
They are.
And as a result, the number of submissions into the TWiP Pro critique topic is increasing, and I'm really happy about that. But we got a lot of work to do, man. It's a lot of stuff.
We do.
It's good though. It is good, right? This is exciting. Lots of good work. Lots of new faces. Welcome to all the new people that have joined TWiP Pro. Thank you for coming in. I'm excited to see your work. I think I've spoken to each and every one of you through the direct messaging feature within TWiP Pro, but allow me to take this opportunity to say welcome to the community. I'm looking forward to seeing your work. Yep. So
thank you for letting us nitpick.
Yeah, thank you for letting us nitpick your work. Troy, before we dive in, I want to not spend too much time yakking before we nitpick. What's going on in your world before we dive in?
I'm staying busy. I started a blog. And I've got 2 posts up. It's very, very new, but I'm giving it a run. I've got a lot of thoughts in my head I need to get out per your suggestion. So I've started to do that. So I hope hope everybody can enjoy that. That's at spicyjello.com. So,
well, come on, you got to be a marketer, man. Say it slowly so people can hear it. What's the URL again?
spicyjello.com and go to the I don't even know what the header is. Thoughts. That's what it is. It's called Thoughts. The topic.
Thoughts. Okay. Like
my daughter
THOUGHT, not THOT, right? THOUGHT?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Some people in the audience will know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying. I'll tell you after we finish recording. Excuse me. Let's get started, man. Let's dive into this thing.
Let's do it.
Let's bring up TWiP Pro here. Here we are. Look at all this stuff going on. I love it. All right, so let's start. I think how many do we have in here? It's like 20 something, right? 17?
Yeah, almost 20.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Okay, so I'm going to start from top to bottom. This first one is from Mark Domke. Hey, Mark. Posted this just yesterday. Neglected grain elevator in Crookston, Nebraska. Let's bring that guy up. Look at that.
Yeah. These are the kind of things when I drive, when I drive back east, because all my family's from the Midwest in Indiana. So when we drive across country to go visit, these are the things that I look for. Mm-hmm. We hit the brakes like, oh, we got to go see that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you see that out of the corner of your eye and like, okay, we're going over there. And your daughter's like, really? Another tangent? Really, Dad?
It's very post-apocalyptic, too. Like you could have your base up there. You could build a little platform to protect yourself when the zombies are coming.
Yep. Yeah, I can see zombies walking through that field right now. Right?
Yeah.
No, I like it. Yeah, this is cool. This is cool. I think Mark is probably pandering to you, though. You know why, right? Because
no, it needs to be black and white.
It hits on two of your hot buttons, right?
Yeah,
post like distressed property, post-apocalyptic, and black and white. So
yeah.
So any nitpicks on this one?
I wish the sky was a little bit darker. So, like in Lightroom or even Capture One, you can grab that blue sky or whatever that color is, and you can pull that down because it's going to be different than what the grain elevator is. So I think that'll add some more contrast to this image, and that would look really nice. And then, maybe just push the contrast a little bit more. Other than that, I dig it. Nice balance. It's centered. I like the fact there's a little bit of writing on that thing I can't quite figure out. It's great. Hopefully he shot a lot of this one because I'd like to see more of it. Yeah,
I agree. I'd like to see more of this one too. Yeah, I don't have much to add to that. Yeah, other than darkening the sky, make it pop out a little bit more. I also like Mark's signature, little watermark on there. I think this is the first time I've seen him do a watermark, or maybe I just missed it before. I like that. One thing I thought you were going to mention, because this is the nitpick show, right? Off to the right on the edge of the frame towards the bottom, there's some leaves sticking out. You see those? Like right on the edge of the frame there?
Yeah, right across. Yeah, okay, if we're going to nitpick, there's a little piece of tree right on the edge, and there's a power line or a cable I can see back there, which I wish wasn't there.
Yeah. You nuke those. But yeah, other than that, no one would notice those except us. So
yeah. Right. We're the nitpickers.
We are the nitpickers. We should rename the show the Nitpicking.
Nitpickers.
Yeah, let's not do that. But cool. All right, Mark Domke. Thank you for submitting that. Very cool. Keep submitting, Mark. I love your work, man. It's really cool.
It's good stuff.
All right. Next one is from Thomas Aaron. Thomas is new. Welcome, Thomas. Let's see. Actually, Thomas has been in here before. Mm-hmm. All right, another black and white shot. All right, folks, you don't have to submit black and white just to make Troy Miller happy. All right.
You know what? It's not that. They're catching on to the idea that black and white is pretty amazing, right?
It is. I agree.
Yeah, I love it.
No, I'm with you. I love black and white. I love the post-apocalyptic stuff too. I love it. My taste skew, I think, in color as well, to be like in color, my taste skew to slightly more contrasty than other people like things, and a little bit more saturated. Maybe it's just more clarity or something in there. But
I
same
like
with black and white. I like it a little bit more punchy. This is technically excellent, right? But I want a little bit more pop in there. This probably comes from my black and white printing days. Like if I printed this and it came out of the fixer, I'd be looking at it and I'd be, let me do this again and put another contrast filter in there and increase my exposure a little bit, if I was developing this by hand. But
create some more contrast. It's every image really has, based on the zone system by Ansel Adams, every image potentially has a pure white and a pure black spot and then zones in between. And so to me, that just makes it more juicy is to have those darker darks.
Yep. I like that. Juicy. There you go. Yeah, that's a new photographic term. You heard it here first, folks. Juicy. Make your images juicy.
That's right. Yeah, nitpickers making stuff up as we go.
Hey, it's our show, man. We can do whatever we want to do. All right, let's move on.
But I love Thomas's image. I really like this. This is, to be fair, this is a fun, quick moment. Not quite a snapshot, but we don't really know the context of the story. We don't really know what's going on in this one just by looking at the image. So it feels a little bit tight, maybe some more space if they were playing around in the park or an area. That could really help us tell the story. The stop sign being dead center is very distracting.
Would you take that out, or would you just try to compose around it? You can't really compose this candid shot of the dad running with, I would assume, is the son, right? You can't. It's not like you're going to say, hey, guys, can you go back and play catch again the other way, or, whatever you're doing. Right? So what would you do?
Well, in this case, if this was the image, if this was the keeper, I would probably remove it. It wouldn't be hard to remove.
Yeah.
If I was shooting this, like let's say this was a wedding party and I had to shoot in this area, I would get down low. I would wait for them to pass in front of the sign, and then I would try to shoot at that moment to eliminate the sign. Always being aware of what's behind your subjects is really important. And the more that you do that, it becomes kind of second nature and just muscle memory. And you're like, oh, stop sign. Okay, wait for the dad to run by, and put the pole in between them as opposed to the stop sign.
How do you feel about them running out of the frame, though, instead of, or did you say it before, leave some room on the right side of the frame for them to be running into, which is generally what you want to do for shots where there's movement in a certain direction, right?
Right. But even aside from that, this image is just tight.
Mm-hmm.
It's just tight everywhere. Maybe because he cropped it out of the center, that's fine. But it's just tight, and we don't really know what they're doing. Is the kid chasing a ball? Is there something going on? Are there entertainers in the park? We don't know. So space can help.
So our brain can't really make a story out of this,
right?
Maybe if this was part of a series of images where we kind of could discern what was going on, right? That would like a triptych or something with the story playing itself out. But cool, awesome.
Exactly.
Thomas Aaron, thank you, sir. All right, moving right along. Here's another one from Thomas, also black and white. Let's bring this one up. Look at that. Yeah. This looks like a teenager in his native habitat.
Right. Checking his Instagram posts. Yeah. To see how many likes he got. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Instagram. I was going to say Facebook, but no, that's for old people now. Right. So yeah, Instagram is where the party's at.
This is really a wonderful shot. This is really cool. This could be an ad for Patagonia. He's wearing that beanie, but you can't quite read the name, but we know it's a Patagonia. Yep. He's just chilling. It kind of fits that age group. That's really cool. I love that his head is in a clean space, right? There's no noise behind him, not a lot of stuff. Shallow depth of field, dig that a lot.
Yep.
I'm a little split on whether or not I like the guys on the right. Maybe for some more city vibe, but if it's a portrait of him, then I would crop those guys out, like just immediately to their shoulder. Kind of depends on where you're going.
I have to disagree on that. I think I don't mind them in there, or maybe if they were back a little further and more out of focus. But I like the fact that he's not on a deserted street. That it's just kind of showing that there's other humans around him and he's oblivious to them because he's so engrossed in his phone. I kind of like that, and it doesn't, because they're darker, and it looks like he may have even burned them in a little bit. It doesn't. They don't. My eye isn't going directly over to him. When I brought this image up, my eye goes directly to him. The only thing that my brain is struggling with, and I don't not like it, is the tilt of the image. So
I dig that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah. I mean, but that adds interest to it. I think without that, I think it's a less powerful image. But.
Well, imagine that this is the senior portrait, though, or imagine that this is, a shoot of him for him. Then that's when I would suggest you crop the guys out.
Yeah.
Other than that, as a street scene or an ad or a commercial shoot, absolutely leave the guys in.
Yeah.
Right. And that's really kind of up to the maker, whatever you're going to use it for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If this was an ad or some sort of editorial shot, I could see this in a magazine with copy on the right side of that frame anyway. Right. So.
Right.
Yeah, very cool. All right. Let's move out of this one. Thank you, Mr. Thomas Aaron, for the twofer. All right, Tim Engel. Uh-oh. You ready for this?
I've seen it.
It's Tim Engel at Preston Castle.
Cool.
Look at this.
This is one of my favorite images he's ever taken.
I hate him. And I say that in the most loving way possible. No, this is cool. This is really cool. So yeah, go ahead. Give us your thoughts on it, Troy.
See, Tim Engel is the kind of guy that his equipment doesn't sit on the shelf and mock him.
Yes, it doesn't.
Because he's out shooting all the time. He's always creating new content.
His equipment sits in a corner at night and whimpers.
Yeah.
Other people that just, they're gear obsessed and just buy gear for the sake of having gear, they are the folks that have the gear that sit in the corner saying, "Hey, dude, are you going to use me? I still have my price tag on me." Can you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a couple little things for me on this one is I wish that I had either all of her feet or that we cropped up from the bottom, like just up to like the bottom of her dress. Cause I just don't like seeing the pieces of her ankle there. I think that, it's dark enough down there that if you crop above that highlight on her ankle, that it would feel better. And there's a little space behind her, but I wish there was a little bit more space in front of her right hand. Mm-hmm. That being said, that is just insignificant little things.
Nitpickery.
I kind of wish that there was like a dagger or something laying on the desk right there, or
she's like the rabbit killer of Preston Castle.
Yeah, I don't know, some kind of tool or something laying there, or something just a little bit bizarre. But aside from that,
bloody hammer with hair on it or something. It is Halloween, so
I like the suggestive idea that maybe she just uses that dagger to clean her nails. I mean, who knows, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you don't know that she's evil. Maybe she's a good Easter bunny.
No, I'm gonna go with she's not a good Easter bunny. I don't want that showing up in my daughter's room. So.
Yeah, but I will say, I mean, normally in images, having a bright spot like in a corner is usually a bad thing because it draws your eye out of the frame. But in this case, I don't think it's as distracting as it could be. Your eye bounces back and forth from that square to her face and that square and her face, which puts you in the context of a room. It's probably dark. Yeah. I like it. It's a good storytelling piece.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it tells a story by itself. I agree with that. I thought about this a bit, and I thought that light in the upper right was too much, but I don't think so. I think it sort of adds to it. And I don't know if Tim purposely added sort of the hint of light rays coming through and shining on her. But if he did, fantastic. If he didn't add that on purpose in post, then even more kudos go to Tim Ingle, because he, captured the glow and the light coming in and hitting the model. I'd love that. Yeah, Tim does some great work, but I know it's a running sort of joke with Tim that he likes to amputate people. So that's why I kind of giggled a little bit when you were talking about her foot being cut off. He likes to amputate the occasional limb, and I think he does it on purpose. That's part of his stuff.
He probably does. Yeah.
I think he probably did that to see if you were going to notice.
Yeah. Yeah. My only other pick is get rid of that chair in the background. Right out of her back.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, I see it.
Super easy to remove. I just think that it would clean up the image enough that we wouldn't have those distractions. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Cool. But good work, Tim Ingle. Thank you, sir, for submitting that. All right, moving right along. Mark Harris posted this one yesterday. This is another image from his body abstract series. Just one quick note, folks. So please do continue adding the metadata information about these images for people that are in TWiP PRO and want to see how the images were made. But I'm not going to read those. I used to read those, or up to this episode, I've been reading out what the specs were. I'm going to not do that, because Trey and I discussed before we started recording, that is great information to have, but it doesn't guide the critique at all. It doesn't inform whether we think the image was exposed properly or composed properly or whatever. It's more for the people that are, that care about the pixel peeping type data. So just FYI, if you notice I'm not reading that stuff, that's why.
Yeah, plus with 20 plus images,
yeah,
we're running out of time. Yeah.
That too. All right, here's another one of those abstracts. See, like I always say about these abstracts, man, this could be sand dunes with a little person walking down there.
Well, what's great is I follow Mark on Instagram, and so he's posting these there. He actually posts a couple more there, I think. So I love seeing these. These are killer. It's just the same thing I probably said in the ones in the past. I mean, they really draw your eye in. It takes time for you to think about them. I love how this fills the frame left to right. I like all the negative space above it. It really gives us a lot of context. I am interested, though, in his comment. He did say that he uses that the background is actually white.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And I'm curious why he would do that. I mean, I can think of a couple reasons, for fill light and things of that nature. But I'm wondering why you would shoot this with a white background instead of just lighting it and keeping it black, because that's got to make a little bit of work for you.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, let us know, Mark. Let us know in the comments for this image what your thought process was, or maybe it was just because he wanted to see if he could do it. He's practicing controlling light, and knowing if you know how to control light, you can make any background any shade of gray if you're shooting black and white, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're using a white background, you could put light into it that's going to reflect back on your subject, and that can create some amazing soft light. So maybe that's what he's doing. We don't know. Yeah. Shooting at 51.4 at 6400 ISO, though, I'm guessing there's not a lot of light in the room.
Yeah. So, or not a lot of light in the room, and the background is far away.
Yeah.
So very cool. Love this stuff, man.
Cool.
Like, we can just do this all day. So let's look at these shots. And I know I said I wasn't going to read metadata, but I'm always impressed because he's still shooting with his Westcott ice lights with the barn doors, right? Which is awesome. I have a set of those as well. I love those things. All right, moving right along here. Next one is from Armando Brook. Armando's a brand new TWiP member. Welcome, Armando.
Yes, welcome.
And he just posted this yesterday. Let's take a look.
Wow. Yeah, I want to be there.
I do.
I want to be there.
This looks like Copenhagen or something. I swear.
See those people sitting there? They're doing the thing that I want to be doing when I'm doing other things I don't want to do.
This is where your mind goes when you daydream.
No. So my wife and I, we have this thing. So when we're on our way to a wedding or a shoot or whatever, and we drive past like a Starbucks or a coffee shop or a restaurant, people are sitting outside, and I'd be like, oh, they're doing that thing that we wish we were doing when we're done doing the thing that we have to do now. Right. And then when you're sitting there doing that, you can be like, hey, look, we're doing that thing we wish we were doing when we're doing other things we don't want to do. Now we're doing that thing.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. You guys are time travelers. That's what you are.
Welcome to my brain. Sorry.
Mind time travelers is what you are. This is cool though. I love this. I love the like I was saying before, I love slightly contrasty, slightly oversaturated. This is what I was talking about.
Juicy.
Juicy. This is a juicy image. It makes you want to go there. I wish, like, you know, several episodes ago, you and I were talking about like augmented reality, and if there were glasses that let you see the world with a little bit more clarity, or slightly contrasty, or black and white, or infrared.
Yep.
Right? This is how I'd want to see the scene. I know it probably didn't look exactly like this, but I want to see it like this. Right? So how come I can't control what my eye sees? I see you in there. People can't see this, but I see you holding up a piece of paper to crop off the bottom. So my next thing is you're probably going to say you can lose some of the bottom area and crop up a little bit, right?
Yeah. You know, this is one of those really difficult images to crop because there's so much data and there's so many details going on that you got to be careful where you crop. Yeah. And I like the fact that he's chosen where he cropped on the left, you know, right into that window. He's got some nice vertical lines. You know, you could maybe crop a little bit from the right, but probably not so much. But what I'm thinking is that there's a rock in the lower left or something in the lower left, and then there's the reflection in the water, and I see those two things as distracting. So if you were to come up just above that light, that reflection, it really, really cleans up the image. And I think that would really, for me, that would just be the little bit that would push it, you know, a few points higher if I was scoring it. Yeah,
and it would make that road sort of come out of the bottom left-hand corner of the image as well.
Right. Which I think is also very important, is that leading line out of that lower left-hand corner just kind of keeps us in the image. And this is great. Yeah.
Good work. And excellent first submission to the TWiP PRO community. So
yes, thank you, Armando.
I love it. All right. So moving right along here. The next one is from our friend Stephen Scharf. Let's pull this guy up. All right. Rebelio from Nissan. What do you think of this shot?
I love the fact that we have all these cars in the background telling us a story. You know, I mean, this is a great photojournalistic storytelling image. I mean, it's wonderful. I wish the background wasn't as bright. I feel like the whole image is a little bit bright, maybe a little over. I think we could bring it down a bit, get the black some more black.
Yeah, I agree. Those cars in the background look like they're drifting. Are they drifting? Because it looks like they're sliding sideways.
The one directly behind him could be.
No, all of them. Look at the ones in the far background. They look like they're sliding. They're drifting. It looks like.
No, they're not drifting. Those guys aren't.
No. Steven, let us know. I mean, I've been watching, too much Fast and Furious. So. And I downloaded Need for Speed for my new phone. So
yeah, there you go.
Which, by the way, folks, I just got the new iPhone XS Max, and I haven't even tested the camera yet, but I'm going to. Mostly at Photo Plus this week. But here's my thoughts on this, and I wanted to get your thoughts because Steven is a motorsports photographer, and Steven, if you could chime in on TWiP PRO about this, I'd be thankful. So Troy, when you look at these kind of images, we've seen these kind of images before from Steven and people that shoot motorsports that are in TWiP PRO. My question is, I love that this is a technically perfect shot, in many ways. It's crisp, and you have to have a certain amount of technical skill in order to even get this shot, notwithstanding the gear that you need to be able to pull a shot like this off. But when I look at this, I think of, okay, this is a great shot, but what's the, other than this being a great shot for that driver or for people that went to the sport or people that are fans of that particular vehicle, what is this shot for? right? Are these motor, and this is, I'm legit asking this question. Are these kinds of shot purely for documentary purposes, or is there an artistic element here, or is it purely an exercise and skill to see if you can get it, kind of like fly fishing? You know, what is the from your perspective, Troy, what is the artistic sort of piece of this photo?
Well, I mean, I don't know. That's an unfair question. You're setting me up.
Mm-hmm. That's what I do.
I know. I mean,
gotta stop watching news.
The artistic part of this, I don't know. I don't see the artistic part of it. You know what I mean? I think this is a photojournalistic image. When I look at this, I think of this as, you know, you went out for the magazine, and the magazine is like, okay, we need to get shot at number 38.
Yeah.
Or I want you to show me the story about this particular event.
Right.
For me, if it was artistic, I would be looking for something different than what somebody else may be able to get standing in that spot.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Right? Like, you know, a tire really lifted and the background, you know, some smoke. Really, really, really long lens, super, super, super tight on the tire and the wheel and the driver, a head turn.
And not that you want to see any ill will for the drivers. Absolutely not. But if you were to capture some sort of accident or something and freeze that motion, then that becomes sort of a newsworthy photojournalistic shot, right? So
it's definitely a more appetizing photojournalistic image. I mean, you know, in drag racing, nobody wants to see the shots of just, you know, the car driving by. They want to see a launch. They want to see the front tires off the ground. They want to see the tires smoking.
And the rear tires kind of distorting from the torque and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when they pop a blower, you want to make sure that you got, you know, 20 frames of that.
Yeah. And it takes skill and timing and all that stuff to get that. So, yeah. So, Stephen, let us know. I mean, you're the motorsports photographer. Like, these kinds of shots, what is their destination? Is the destination for this shot the driver? Like, if I was driving number 38, I'd want this shot for sure, right? So is the destination for this shot the driver? Is it for the track? Is it for a magazine? Is it pure photojournalism, or are you out there purely to exercise your skill at being a motorsports photographer? I'm curious to know. Cool. But thank you for submitting that. I've learned something every show. All right. And he did say genre photojournalism too here. So
yeah.
All right. So moving down. Next shot is from Steve Goldman, and he's a new member as well. Welcome, Steve.
Yeah, welcome, Steve.
Yeah. Look at this contrasty black and white of a car interior. This is hitting on several of your sort of your photography dopamine sort of sensor.
It is, and I can tell you, I know this car very well. So, in my comment to him, I said I can smell it.
Oh, really? Really? Oh, did you own this?
I did not own one of these. I've always been into classic cars. I've worked on many of these. I mean, I've had all those parts out on the countertop at one point or another.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, this is great. This is a really fantastic shot. I love the fact that it's in black and white, and a little bit grainy. I don't know if that's just maybe a high ISO, or if it was shot on film, or what. I don't think that we don't have the metadata. Yeah, we don't know what it was shot on.
Yeah.
My only challenge with this image is we have a lot of the back of the back seats, we have a back of the front seats, but it's hard because the steering wheel is pushed up really high, and I just wish that it was more over the seats looking down, as opposed to getting as much of those seats in there, right? Like, I wish the whole steering wheel was in there.
Yeah.
Or the whole front dash was in there, or tighter, bring it in tighter, like crop it just to the left of the glove box, leave in the center console with the shifter and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are valid points. I thought you might've said something like that about the black areas behind the seats being a little bit too much. So I'll leave that to you. My thoughts on just sort of the overall, aside from that, so I agree with that. Aside from that, I was thinking that it was going to bug me that this was too contrasty, because the highlights are blown, right? And the darks, the shadows are gone, right? So is, like you were mentioning, the Ansel Adams zone system, right? This is not within the zone system, but this is a good illustration of that rules are meant to be broken. Like, he clearly wanted this to be almost a lithograph kind of graphic image, you know, and he pulled it off. Like, you could push this a little bit further to the right on the contrast side, and you could make a rubber stamp out of this thing, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
This feels like film. So
yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying, you know, it's hard to say anymore, but this feels like film, and I like that feeling.
Yeah.
Because I have lots of images of cars that I shot on my film days, and it feels like that. So
T-Max to try X.
Yeah.
Love it. Cool. And welcome again from Kent, Ohio. I have family in Ohio. All right. So moving down, we're getting there. We're getting good at this, Troy Miller.
Yeah.
Howard Yermish is in the house, and he said he had a chance to do a little fall foliage hiking and decided to bring his Lens Baby along. All right. Let's see what Lens Baby did for him.
It's trippy. It's trippy.
Yep. Look at that. We got to get Craig Strong back on the show again to talk about some of the latest things that Lens Baby is releasing. But yeah, this is what's cool about Lens Baby. You can't do this kind of shot with pretty much any other lens. You could probably try to do it in post, but that's, I think, part of the Lens Baby fun is you're not sure what you're going to get, and it's not that repeatable, and it's just sort of, hey, I'm out here playing around and I'm getting some cool shots, and, you know, I'm using this cool tool that I have to do it. I like the saturation of this. You know, again, it's a little saturated. Exposure looks spot on. When I look at it, like from a compositional standpoint, I want a subject in there. Like, this feels like that road is leading me to something, or the path is leading me to something. And not to recreate the image for the artist at all, but it feels like, you know, they're like, if there was a person there, like a little kid walking down in there, or a model or something, sort of midway through the frame, or even in the middle of the frame, that would give me something that would sort of add to the story. Right now, I don't have a story other than, you know, I'm on a path. I feel like I'm walking on the path. It puts me there, but I don't feel like there's a story element to it. What say you, Troy Miller?
No, I agree. I mean, these kind of images are hard for everybody to kind of take in, because one of the things is, you know, when you're walking through this, you can smell the damp leaves, and you can feel the coolness or the warmth, depending where you're at. And that plays a lot into the factor of the person creating it. So, you know, I've shot a lot of landscape and a lot of stuff like this. So, I mean, I like this. I see this, and it reminds me of times that I was backpacking. So I don't need a subject as much, because I want to go walk down there.
Yeah.
I want to walk around.
It puts you in, it's a sense of place. Yeah. It puts you in the scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know, I agree with everything you said. I would crop the left side. I feel like the path could be more dead center, and you have a tree on the right, and you have a vertical tree on the left that's both soft, we'll call it. I think that's your frame. Leave the right distance, crop in so it's the same on the left, and I feel it would have a lot more balance. I like the rocks in the foreground. I feel like I'm going to trip over them. So it's a really neat image, and I think that the exposure is handled really well, and it's really fun. Yeah.
I agree. There. And you didn't say black and white. That's
well, that's pretty cool.
Now you're looking. I put it in your head. Now you're looking at it, right?
Oh, dude, I saw it when it was a thumbnail.
Yeah. I love it.
But then again, I mean, for me, I grew up learning, you know, with Ansel Adams, right? Not with Ansel Adams, but, you know, Ansel Adams was sort of my mentor, and it was one of those things like, this is black and white. This is what I want. I want all this to be black and white.
Right. Yeah.
Or in infrared. Oh, this would be killer.
Yeah, I would love to see a shot like this in infrared. Huh. All right. There you go. Marlton, New Jersey. Look at that. Howard Yermish. All right, moving down the row here. Craig Stampley. A summer storm about to hit SEQ, southeast Queensland, down under. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm getting a good dose of black and white in this one. This is great.
Yeah, they're pandering. No, I look at this. I'm a big fan of clouds, man. I love them. Look at the storm in the background, and this is crazy. It's almost like you want to see a face in in the clouds looking down angrily.
Oh, I see a face. I see lots of things in there.
Right? Yeah, it's like a Rorschach test.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's just really great. No, it's I love the composition. All the clouds tell a great story. All that vertical space is fantastic. I'm glad all that is left in there. Mm-hmm. You could do this a number of different ways. I mean, you could have done like a long pano and just showed the horizon with the storm. That would look really good too. Mm-hmm. But the way that it's presented, I mean, I don't really have anything to add. I love the clouds. I like the treatment. It's handled well. The highlights are handled well. There's little foreground elements in there. I don't know what those are. If they're dogs, cows, goats, people, or
some sort of mammal in there.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
I want this image on my phone. I think this needs to be my wallpaper on my phone. It's perfect. This is perfect wallpaper. I've been looking for this.
Yeah, and you have that
got the ground at the bottom for the dock, right? I love it. I love it.
Yeah, Craig, that's really good. That's really nice.
Good work. Good work. That's got to be a good compliment when somebody says, yeah, I want to carry your image around with me on my most intimate device.
That is true. Mm-hmm. No, it's very true.
Esteban Gil is a shot he's thrown into critique. It's the first image that made me fall in love with drones. All right, let's pull this up. Yeah, see? Troy Miller? Drones in wedding, right? You said it can't
never
be
gonna
done.
happen for me. Nope.
No, you're not going to do it? You're still resisting?
No. Dude, I got time for that.
Resistance
My
is futile.
days don't have any time.
Resistance is futile. You will do it.
I fully recognize the coolness of the drone. What I don't want to deal with is the time frame. Mm-hmm. You know, like the last wedding that we just had, we go out on the golf course and we only have so much time. You know, I've got like 12 minutes to get a round of shots in. I don't have time to launch a drone. I mean, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, I can do 2 poses in that time.
Yeah.
So I don't have time to launch a drone. So
yeah,
I got a buddy that hangs out with me, my buddy Freddie. He'll go and he'll fly his drone, and that's great. But I can't do it. It wouldn't be fair to my couples. No, it wouldn't be fair.
Besides, you don't have a drone anymore, right? And you lose yours up a tree.
But it flies like it has Parkinson's. So
no, it flies like it's you need to get it fixed. Send it in, get it fixed.
I did. It fell out of a tree and then it got fixed and it's unhappy. So I'm gonna get a new drone.
Yeah, they are delicate electronic equipment. So back to this image. So beautiful composition. I love the fact that it's off to the subjects are off to the left, kind of loosely in the rule of thirds there. I love the fact that the boat and the waves are parallel to each other, or the ripples in the water are all parallel, and he's got them sort of moving from top left to bottom right of the image, and it just sort of adds that powerful symmetry. There's a strip in the middle that is really dark, and I'm not sure if it's me. You can see that kind of diagonal strip that's down.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really dark. I'm not sure what's up with that. I'd love to see less darkness there, or more of a sort of an equal distribution of the waves throughout the image. But other than that, I love it. I like the processing on the couple there. I love obviously the pose of the couple. And I love the fact that you're shooting with a drone and doing work. In all seriously, like doing work that is real work and not just about demonstrating that I have a drone, right? So you see, most of the images, or a lot of the images that we see these days, maybe less so now than before, but it used to be just like, hey, I just got this cool drone and look at this shot of a trash can, from the air, This is like, who cares the fact, like, this is a shot with a photographer with a flying camera, not a dude with a drone. So, yeah, it's composed. He used the rule of thirds and his superpowers as a photographer to exploit the fact that he had a flying camera versus, let me just show you how cool I am with this new toy. What do you think? What do you think?
No, I agree with everything you said, except for I am not a fan of the pose. I realize that organizing this is very challenging, so don't think that it's lost on me that this is a challenging shot. Her reaching up with her right arm behind his head might look good from the front, shooting their faces, which is still a questionable pose for me. I just don't do those anymore. But this just feels odd. Like there's two floating heads and this arm that's coming behind his head. I think that posing in a boat like this is certainly challenging, and I've seen some of Esteban's other images. I know he can pose better. I mean, I don't want to say he can pose better, but I know that he knows what he's doing. So I'm just sort of highlighting the fact that that right arm back there feels very odd. With that said, I love it. I dig it. I might burn down the left edge, the highlights a little bit to bring the focus in on them a tad bit more. But other than that, I don't really have a lot more to add that Frederick hasn't already said. I mean, this is great. And I love the fact that you're working with and you're showing images that you're working with a drone. And don't think it doesn't inspire me to want to go do it. I'm not gonna, because I don't have time, but I love the fact that one of my fellow
I smell fear. That's what I smell. Fear.
No, I'm sharing pride for one of my peers that are out in the world, and he's shooting weddings, and he's challenged, and he's doing it, and he's creating these unique images with a drone and getting couples in a boat. And
I'm saying I smell fear from you of flying and taking a drone to a wedding.
No, I don't want to fly. Yeah. But I am curious, Esteban. I'm curious if this was something that you did on a wedding day, or was this maybe like an engagement session?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this was not done on the wedding day. So this is. Please tell us, Esteban, if it was or not. But my guess would be this was a planned shoot. Hey, meet me at the lake at 3:00, and he probably used his photographer's ephemeris app or whatever to figure out lighting and all that, and meet me there at this time. I got the boat ready. Okay, you guys go hop in the boat, and away we go. So,
I mean, days like this, and this is sort of a learning point for anybody, is that, this may be an image that he thought about doing for a long time. I mean, I have one of the places that I shoot, there's this really bitchin' bridge that crosses this water in the golf course. And in order for me to do that shot with the right couple at the right time, I got to plan it way ahead, because I got to be, 300 yards away with a 400 millimeter to get the shot.
Yeah.
And I've done it, and it's amazing, but the couple knows, like, okay, it's going to take 30 minutes to do this shot. Is that what you want? So sometimes you can plan for that stuff on a wedding day.
Yeah. Well, you're convincing yourself, right? It can be done, right?
I'm not flying a drone.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go out on a limb before the end of 2019. You will have flown a drone at a wedding, even if it's my own. So.
Okay, it might happen.
Yeah, see, there you go.
I need Esteban to come out to Southern California, and we'll do a wedding together, and he can fly his drone.
Hey, there you go. Hey, collabs are always good. All right, next one is from Eric Joseph. Eric Joseph, I haven't done one of these in a while. Given the recent landscape entries, I thought I'd throw in from today. You bring this up. This is Round Valley Reservoir near Lebanon, New Jersey. He was out on a short hike and loved the light and the moving clouds. Oh, look at that. Long exposure on clouds. There you go, man.
Dialed. I'm done. Sign me up. This is the one I'll order.
Yeah, it's nice, right? This passes the big test, right? This would look good big.
Yeah. Only two little things that if it was mine, I would do. I would crop up from the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
And I would remove that little tiny rock off on the right.
Oh, is that bugging you? Yeah.
Well, because I want more space next to the rocks,
and
I don't think the little one adds anything. So I would just pop that out of there, and then that would give me all the space that I need.
Yeah, that's a couple clicks with the clone tool. Often.
Yeah. Content aware fill or whatever. But Eric, great image. Great image. I love it.
Awesome image. All right, let me bring this up here. There's a little person behind you. Just I put you on camera again. There's a little smooth criminal back there.
Yep.
I love that cat. That cat's awesome. All right, back to the critique. Moving right along here, we are now with Brian Taylor. Hey, Brian, welcome. Look at this shot. Let's see. What did Brian say? Captured at sunrise at a Cave Point County Park in Door County, Wisconsin. Let's pull this up. what is going on here?
Yeah, that's what I thought when I first looked at it. I mean, it has a heavy HDR look to it, which it's not my flavor. I mean, I love all the texture and the contrast. I love the movement of that wave. That's what I really like a lot. What I'm curious about is, what are those streaks in the sky?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. What is going on here? Those are two things. The three things that got me about this image was that it feels heavy-handed on the HDR side. And there's nothing wrong with being heavy-handed at HDR if that's the look you're going for, right? I'm looking for that sort of crunchy HDR feel, which is Trey Ratcliffe probably single-handedly made that a genre in and to itself, right? So there's that. But then I was like, yeah, what are those? Are those scratches up there intentional, or what's happening there? And then the third thing was, that is a huge watermark down there at the bottom. That's one of the biggest watermarks I've seen. And I'm warming up to watermarks, but when they're done elegantly, like some of the ones we saw earlier that are kind of like a faux signature with a copyright symbol, that kind of thing, where they don't obscure the image or compete with the image or draw your eye away. I think the thing that bothers me about large watermarks is when they draw your eye to the watermark itself versus just sort of, if you hunt for it, you can find it. Like if I was looking at an image and I'm like, you know what, who shot this? Is there a watermark on there? Oh yeah, it's Craig Stanley. Then that's better than I'm looking at an image and I instantly go down. This one, I'm looking and I see those three things. I see the scratches at the top first, and then I look at the exposure and it feels a little crunchy to me, intentional or not. It just feels that way. And then the large watermark is competing for the attention of the image, which could be strong on its own, even if you like you're going to say crop up from the bottom a little bit and lose some of those rocks and to draw the focus to the waves, right?
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Because if you cropped up from the bottom, lose that watermark and draw attention to those awesome waves right there, that's killer. And then, then there's those scratches to contend with. What do you think?
No, I agree with everything you said. I mean, the favorite part of this image for me is that water, how it's kind of whipping around, splashing off to the left, and that rock right in the center is the water's running off of that, and you can still see some shape of the wave, so the exposure is really not that long. The clouds haven't blurred or anything, so that to me, that whole composite of that image works really good. I'm really confused by those lines in the sky. I'm trying to think about what those are, unless this is a composite of multiple shots. Which could be
right. It could be, but
and it's a little odd for me that the highest clouds are gray and the horizon clouds are blue. Right. I mean, I would think that there would be some more blue in those clouds as well.
Yeah. We need some explanation in here. So yeah, if you could. Brian Taylor. Yeah, Brian, let us know what's going on here, with the scratches up there, for one, the inconsistency with the color of the clouds and the top clouds, the bottom clouds and top clouds, and your thinking around the watermark. I would love to, would people, not that I'm saying it's wrong, it's just, watermarks are a matter of taste anyway. So,
right. And it's an ongoing conversation that we've had about, whether we do or don't want them, or how do we use them,
and if you do it, what's the right, is there a quote right way? It's art, right? So there is no one right way to do them. It's your picture, you do whatever you want with it,
right?
But what is the crowd consensus on watermarking? All right, moving right along. Boom, boom, boom. And next one is from Mark Fink. I'm not going to read all this, but he said this is another one of his quick pull the car over images. Look at that. Jeez. This reminds me of, I had the opportunity a couple of years ago, to go to the Champagne in France, the Champagne region in France. And, I was sort of getting a tour from the French tourism board. And this is one of the places this looks like one of the places they brought me. And it was just nothing but grapes grapevines, you know, as far as the eye could see. Like if you imagine this shot and those hills in the distance, those also would have grapes on them. They're everywhere.
Right.
There's no patch of land that was more than like 6 foot square that didn't have grapes on it. But this shot, yeah, I'm looking at this shot. There's a lot going on in here. There's a lot going on in here. And I don't know that when I first look at it, I'm impressed. My first reaction is like, wow, okay, yeah, look at those clouds. Maybe it's the clouds. And maybe it's it feels like this is right after a rainstorm or something, and the storm has moved on to its next victim, and this is what's left. I don't know. What do you think?
No, this is really great. I was reading in the description. This is a pano that is composited of like 16 images. So this is a big image. So that's why there's a lot of detail going on in here. I really like the feel. It's really good. I do feel that I would probably crop up from the bottom a little bit, get rid of that little bunker on the lower left-hand corner.
Oh yeah, the gnome house.
Yeah, the gnome house. I just think it would clean up that foreground just a tad. And then the processing on the clouds seem really heavy, but the more I look at it, the more that I'm kind of digging all that. So it feels good. I mean, you've captured this storm, right? Like this is great. This is something that all of us would be pulled over, taking shots with our phones or whatever we have.
Yep.
And he took the time to set up and do, 16 images for a pano. So
yeah,
nice job.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for clouds. I mean, this one is, I think, squarely fits in that juicy category, right?
Yeah,
it is.
I love the different colors of the clouds, that are going on, where the sun is hitting the top uppermost one, and in the back it's not, so you get some more light fall off. And
yep,
yeah, it's neat. It's really neat.
Gorgeous, gorgeous,
wall worthy.
Yep. All right, let's get out of this image. All right, moving on to the next guy here. Here's another one from Mark. He says, taken on a beach called Tour di Capitello on the French island of Corsica. Look at this. Oh, now you're just bragging. Look at this. Oh,
yeah.
Talk about a place where you want to be, right? I want to be there, sitting there on matching like beach chairs with a glass of wine, right?
Yeah. No, I won't be relaxing. I'll be shooting. If this is in front of me,
your wife will be alone while you're Troy's out there taking pictures. No, this is cool. This is a long exposure too. Yeah, looking at I'm not going to read the EXIF data, but looking at the waves there, you can see that this is, there's a length to the exposure there. And again, with those clouds, right? And using the sun obscured by the clouds to shoot the rays down as an element. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I would love to see a little bit more saturation in the sky.
Really?
Or maybe overall. I do, because I think that this could really, really benefit from that. I mean, the warm colors from that sun and the deep blue of that sky, I think there's more there, and that I'm just sort of hungry for that, right? I'm not saying that it suffers because it's not there, but I think it could benefit from it, because also you've got on the right-hand side of the sun in the clouds, you've got these really wonderful rays of light coming out, and I don't think they're being honored as well as they could be. A little bit of processing in the sky could bring those rays out even more without making it look over processed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But handled really well. I love the horizon line. It's level. It's not in the middle. The foreground is appealing. The sky sort of balances that whole thing. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, very well done.
Again, I want to follow Mark around now.
Yeah, exactly. Why do these kinds of shots just present themselves to him, right?
Because he was in France and Italy. And
yeah. Love it. All right. We're coming in on the closing shots here. This one's from William Bean, and he says he said he's new here. This is a Cuban tobacco farmer from the western end of the island, and he is in a shack drying his leaves, showing how to roll a cigar. Yeah, I saw when this came through. Yeah, this is cool. Definitely portraiture photojournalism here, more portraiture. But I dig it. I dig it a lot. This is one of those where I wish I was there. You can almost smell it. in there.
Oh, I bet it smells good in there.
Right. You're right. And I'm not a smoker, but I can just the smell of that, is probably just, it would get in your brain and stay there. Just like that car got in your brain and stayed there.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of those scenes that if you smelled it would get in your brain and just, rent a room and be there permanently. I don't have any negative things to say about this shot. I know you may say that because you're evil, you may say that you would tone down the exposure on the subject just a little bit. I actually like it like that. What do you think?
Yeah, I do. I think that his hands are overexposed. Mm-hmm. So I think if you bring the whole thing down, I like the fact that his hands are the hottest in the image. I mean, that's where eyes are going to go to first is the board. I think that's fantastic. So let the exposure go down. And when that happens, the background is going to go down. And I think it's going to mood up the whole image. Yeah. My only wish for this image is I wish we had the top of his hat. I mean, it's almost right there. It's so close. It's not like, we couldn't have had it.
Would you keep the same distance and just sort of pan up and lose more of his legs to gain his hat, or would you step back a bit? Assuming this is a fixed focal length lens.
I would step back if I could. If I couldn't, I would pan up a little bit. And then, I wouldn't want to cut off the tobacco leaf that's laying over the board. So, maybe it's a lesser of two evils. I don't know what William, I don't know what your circumstances were like. I'm just speaking to the image, if you will, that I wish we had hat. And then I would burn the hat down because it's the top of the hat's just a little bit too bright.
Yeah. I love these images that tell stories, though, right? Because this is it's definitely telling a story. He looks like he's probably done this a million times, and we'll do it a million more times after this shot or more. Right. That board that he's preparing the leaf on, it looks like, it's probably seen its share of tobaccos rolled on it, right?
Right.
It's got some history. Maybe it's been passed down from generation to generation or something. And the knife in his hand looks like it's seen battle with this artisan, right? It's just really cool. I like shots that tell a story like this get me for some reason, because I'm like, okay, I want to get in there. I want to figure out what's going on. There's so much craziness going on in the world. You look at a shot like this and like, yeah, people are still doing their thing, still making cool stuff and having a good time doing it. They're artisans that are still making cool stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah, really nice. Really nicely done.
Yep. Love it. And welcome to the fray, William Bean.
Yes.
All right, moving right along. Boom, boom, boom. Here's William Beam and Iraxo Pichel. All right, let's bring him up.
Little Star Wars Legos going on.
Yeah. Okay, let's pull this out. Look at that. Hey, there's a signature. See? Not obtrusive down there.
You're obsessed.
I am. I'm okay with being obsessed, right? What's the alternative?
Normal. Don't want to be normal.
Yo, you say normal, I say complacent. I don't know. But this is cool. So, I met with a commercial photographer down in Puerto Rico when I was down there, and he does work like this. I'll see if I can find a link to his work. But he does work but it's more photorealistic rather than Legos. He will take and build a X-Wing fighter from a model and distress it a little, and then composite it into a real scene and make it look real.
Wow.
Right. And it just like his work is fantastic. Like he did some stuff with AT-AT walkers and, that kind of stuff. But this is cool. Like for me, this is an example of being able to take everyday items and do something cool with it, with your lens and the optics and the supercomputer that you have sitting in your camera bag. You can do some really cool stuff. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, no, these are great. There's a big challenge with doing these because you're not dealing with, real world depth, and you're trying to create that artificial look. I a couple things is I really want to see these two guys facing more into the frame to the left, because I feel like the right side is too tight, and I feel like if they were facing just turn slightly to the left, then that would make sense. Then they're looking into the frame. The other thing is when you're shooting small scale and you're shooting macro, is you got to really watch that depth of field. And both of these characters are out of focus at some point. The guy on the right, especially the guy on the left, you know, it looks like in his, maybe the mid area it's in focus, but the depth of field in a macro is so incredibly shallow.
Yeah. It's a sliver.
Yeah. So some focus stacking could be really helpful just to get your key subjects in focus. And then, you know, I know that you got probably an X-Wing fighter out there or something like that, but because the depth of field is so shallow, I can't really tell what they are. So it would be better to have some better depth of field control in this image. Yeah. I mean, I like the lighting. I think the lighting is handled really well. I think the context is handled really well. It's just small scale is really, really difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, for me, it's an example of exercising your creativity. You don't have to be in, you know, Corsica in order to get a cool shot. You know, you can make a cool shot like this and play around and hone your skills in photography and understanding depth of field and stuff with everyday items that are around the house.
Right.
So,
right.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very
exactly. Cool. Yeah. Good job, Rexo. Good job.
Yep. All right. So moving down, I think we're almost there. No, not quite. Yeah, we got 4 or 5 left. All right. So here we are. Peter Levshin. You've heard of that guy, right?
Yeah.
All right. Peter. Look at that. I've never been able to get a shot like this. I mean, I've only had a couple of opportunities to do it, but I've never tried. I mean, I know the technique, you know, long exposure, wait for the intervals of lightning and all that stuff and then grab it. But I'm always impressed when I see these kind of shots because it just feels, you know, it's showing the awesome power that is nature, right? That thing could vaporize you, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And then it is also showing that this is a photographer that understands how to capture this kind of scene. I don't know. What do you think?
No, this is really cool. I actually helped him, you know, edit this image a little bit because we had some coloring challenges in the image. But these are incredibly difficult. And this is, you know, Southern California. We don't get weather like this very often. So this is like a 10-year storm that came through.
Oh, this is in Southern California?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is, you know, out off of Balboa. By the peninsula out in the harbor. I mean, this is
never happens here. Yeah.
Never do we get that down here. So this was really cool. And he shot this with a lightning trigger, which is, if you've never shot lightning with a lightning trigger, it's the way to chase lightning. Because it senses not all of them, but the lightning trigger, which is a brand name, senses the infrared pulse before the lightning strikes. So it pops the shutter open, lightning strikes, and then it closes the shutter. So
seriously? Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, they're killer. I mean,
my like I was saying in the beginning, my thought was you get out there, throw your camera on a tripod and, you know, kind of wait and, you know, okay, one might be coming. Let me open the shutter for 30 seconds. And then, you know, when it happens and you close the shutter. That's kind of the traditional way of doing it, right?
Yeah, if you don't have a lightning trigger, you usually just do 2-minute exposures and just continuously a 2-minute exposure, and you hope you nail one. The lightning trigger is brilliant because you can really focus on chasing the lightning and looking at your phone, watching where the storm's going to be, watching the night sky, and then a lot of times it takes stuff that you didn't even see, which is great.
Oh, so killer! I'm getting one of those. Not that they sell really well in California, but you know, we don't get much rain or stormage here. So
no, they're great because when they pop up, that's the best way to chase them. So this image, I love this. This is another reason that I don't like Peter anymore. You know.
Yeah, Peter and Tim, man. Peter and Tim, they're just evil people.
More reason for all of us to get together.
Very cool. Peter, thank you for submitting that.
Yeah, killer shot.
Okay, I'm moving up. And I got to thank Peter at the end of this because you know why. Let's see. This is Peter again, downtown LA. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, very different.
Wow. Look at that. I'm just taking that in. That like what she's wearing is soft, and then the image itself feels kind of fluffy, you know, because of the depth of field and all that.
Yeah, her shoes have a little bit of fuzziness on them. I love it. It's great pose, great composition.
Yep.
Great look. My only suggestion is that I wish her head was in a clean space of the sky as or against a bigger building, right? Like so that her face would stand out more. So I think if she was either posed left or right, so that she had clean sky behind her, I think that would help a lot.
I don't know. I kind of like her right there. I like her against that dark building. It doesn't bother me right there.
Yeah, feels like it competes with her face too much.
Yeah, but lovely shot, Peter.
Way to go, Peter.
Peter has a range, man. He's photojournalistic. He's doing portraiture. This would fall into fashion portraiture, landscape. We've seen lots of different genres from that guy. You know, he's and most of them are done well, right? So
yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, and that
must be the camera that he buys. Must be the camera. It can't be him. It's got to be. It's got to be the gear.
It's got to be the gear.
Got to be the gear. All right, Peter Levshin. All right, moving right along, and we are down to Jack Brackenbury, and a new member. Thank you, sir, for joining TWiP Pro.
Welcome, Jack.
All right, he says he took this photograph for my college project on landscape photography. This was taken during a sunrise, the reverse magic hour. Look at that.
Right, another one of those brave people that I admire.
To get up early. This is early magic hour, also known as pre-coffee hour, right?
Yeah. This is great. I love what's going on in this image. I would probably crop a little of the sky. There's nothing going on up there, so we could bring that down. Maybe take out half of that sky. It looks like all the verticals are vertical. I really dig it. It's just a really nice scene. I like the long exposure, so we get the water blurring in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, handled really well. There's a bird sitting on the shack to the right.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that guy sitting there. Yeah.
There's a couple birds in there. Yeah,
I agree with the crop down a little bit. I would have liked to have seen this image. I don't know if it would have been possible, obviously, but those lights on the pier, I want those to be on. So in order to do that, you probably have to shoot this at magic hour in the evening, right? So
then it's probably full of people.
And then it's probably full of people. You're right. So it would be impossible to do that shot. But yeah, no, I agree. Very cool. And this is for a college project on landscape photography too. Cool. Yeah, I'd like to see some more work from that project. That'd be really cool, Jack, if you could post something. All right. Lots of new members in the community.
Dos más.
Esteban Gill. All right, here we go. He said he's been MIA due to wedding season kicking his butt. You know about that, right?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Okay, here we go. All right, I'll let you go to town on this one. You guys are in the same genre.
Yeah, I just dig everything about it. I mean, I love the fact you got like this, crossing guard or security there. You can tell by the green in the vest. I like the looks on, the family's face. They're giving a kiss, and I don't know who's holding. Let's say that's, his or her mom, probably. They're just watching the smiles. It's a fantastic candid. I mean, this is what wedding days are, and it's great that as a photographer, he's looking for these, because these are not easy. If you're not a wedding photographer, it's not like, oh, look, they're hanging out, a little snap. He may have instigated the kiss, but these take a lot of effort to capture appropriately. So this is very well done. I like it.
This would make it into your final selects to show one of your brides.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Without a doubt. I was
curious what you were going to say about this, because I'm not a wedding shooter, so I was wondering if you were going to say that the crossing guard is distracting, or the cars in the foreground, or should he have punched in a little bit to draw the focus to them more? I think if me not being a wedding photographer, I would have punched in just a little bit, still keeping the car in there, and some of the crossing guards, so you could tell who he was, but I would punch in a little bit, which would mean you would lose probably that guy on the far right there, or you'd lose some of him.
Yeah, and that's sort of a challenging thing, because I when I look at images like this, if this was my image, I would have to think like, ooh, I like it like this, but what's the bride gonna like the most? And so I may actually edit this with two different crops.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
And that way that they can see it, because you never know what your couple's going to like. It's really hard to predict. So she may look at this, and they may look at this and go, I love it just like this. It's real. Or they mean like, well, I just want to see my face. We want to see our faces better. I want to see the family, and you could just kind of crop the whole family.
Yeah.
The car, the foreground of the car and stuff. So you've got to sort of play to the artist side as a wedding photographer, and then you also have to sort of play to the photojournalistic documentarian side to try to satisfy the documents for their day or documenting their day.
Yeah. You got to put on your empathetic hat and see the image through the bride's eyes, right?
Yeah. Sometimes a little bit.
I struggle with empathy. No. All right, cool. Esteban, thank you, sir. All right, Mike Duran. The last but not least image is from Mike Duran. He says, for Troy and Frederick, this was created earlier this year at CSRG Vintage Race Weekend. I love panning. It takes practice and joy. Yeah, panning is not easy, is it? That is
no.
Yeah, you're gonna shoot a bunch to get the right one. And this image is not coming up. I can't get it to display.
Yeah, I can't either.
Look at that. It won't display on your system either? Nope. All right. Well, let's look at the thumbnail here. Let's see.
Yeah.
And Mike, if you could resubmit this one, there's something going on that Mighty Networks doesn't want to show us the big version. But I can see he's panning, and it looks like is that a Dodge Charger?
Yeah, that looks like a Charger, definitely. Oh, a Challenger.
Or a Challenger?
That's a Challenger. Yeah.
Oh,
those are my cars, man.
Really?
I'm a Mopar fanatic. Yeah, I love Mopar. Well, I shouldn't say fanatic. It's been a long time, but I used to own a speed shop, so I used to build hot rods. So Mopar is my favorite. And
you
I
ever
love
miss that? You ever miss doing that?
Oh, totally miss it. Yeah.
It's quite a jump there. I'm going to bring us back on camera here. It's quite a jump going from, building race cars to wedding and dealing with brides. It's like kind of polar opposites, right?
Yeah, kind of. But it's nice because I get brides and I get couples that sort of fit my personality, and the style of work that I do, which I think is heavily influenced by, everything that builds us, who we are as humans, whether it's our previous life as a contractor or building hot rods and speedboats or, I just dig all that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely.
I love it.
Yeah, I do love this shot. The panning is great. The wheels are spinning. The car is sharp where it needs to be sharp.
Yeah,
I bet it smelled great.
Yes,
the fuel. Oh, the fuel.
See, this episode has been interesting because you've described images as juicy. What was one of them? There was another one. I forgot what you said. I think you said delicious or something. And then there's the whole smell, the olfactory, side of photography. Hey.
But there is, though. That's what these images are meant to do. I mean, intentionally, right, is like remembrance and sharing a story. And because I've walked in the paths and I've hiked and I've driven these cars and I've worked on them, I've torn them apart. I know what it smells like. I know what the rubber smells like. And so I look at this and I'm just like, oh, race day.
Yeah, brings back the memories. Well, cool, man. All right. Well, I think we're done for this critique. We're at just about a little less than, or just around an hour in on this one. So
good. Yeah. Keeping it tight.
Yeah. Keeping it tight. Well, cool. Any final thoughts before we let folks get on with their day?
Awesome images. Thanks for all the new people submitting, and thanks for those who are continuing to submit. That's always fun.
Yeah.
We do have a theme coming up.
We do have a theme coming up next week.
Next week, the pet theme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tell us about it. Tell us about pets. Go ahead.
Well, I think that we should honor our pets. There's been a lot of really cool pet images coming through, so I think we should do that. I do have a gift.
Speaking of pets, hopefully you don't have a pet kangaroo, but
right, or you're with PETA.
Yeah.
But this is what we're giving away.
Yes, that is a kangaroo scrotum pouch that you can use to put stuff in. Our friend Peter Levshin gave me one of those in person when I was down there visiting, and I keep it in my car. and I keep changing it, so it works.
It's a legitimate product of Australia.
It is. I'm not going to say anything else about the kangaroos that gave up their that contributed to that product. But so the winner of next week's show or next week's critique will get one of those, or we'll get that one actually. And then hopefully, we'll get it to you wherever you are on the planet. So we'll get that to you. And then if you don't want that for some reason, like Troy alluded to, if you are with PETA or otherwise,
it just freaks you out a little bit.
Otherwise, it just freaks you out. I know some people that it freaks out. But if it freaks you out to have that, we will not send it to you, and I will send you a Starbucks gift card instead. So you have the choice of the scrotum or the gift card. And I never thought in a million years I would actually say make a sentence like that, but I just made a sentence.
Yeah, offering one or the other, not just using the two words in the same sentence, but you're offering. Yeah.
Offering one or the other. Yeah. Okay. All right, but that's going to be fun. And that's going to be the beginning of a trend on This Week in Photo. We're going to start doing those sorts of fun little incentives and giveaways on the show, so that at least for the critiques, so that we make This Week in Photo or TWiP Pro fun. It's already fun, and there's lots of camaraderie and lots of image sharing and people helping people, or photographers helping other photographers, which is what we want. But I also want to make this like the place to be. I want it to be a blast to do cool stuff here, or to start sharing your work. Cool. All right, Troy Miller, congratulations on your blog, man. spicyjello.com. You could go there right now and read all the posts that are there. As we record, what is it? It's the 22nd of October in 2018 as we record this. So Troy has 2 posts up there, and they're both awesome. I've read both of them. They're both awesome. So definitely head over to his blog and check him out, and give him some love, give him some feedback. You have comments turned on over there, Troy?
I do.
All right.
I'm a little nervous about it, but You'll
learn. Man. We all have comments on in the beginning.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Yeah, definitely head over there and give us a love. And thanks for doing these critiques with me, man. Honestly, this is fantastic. I think people are really getting a lot out of these, and I get a lot out of them every single time we do one. So very cool. All right, folks, that's it for this episode of the TWiP Pro Photo Critique. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
All right. Take care.
This is TWiP.